I'm going to be smoking a full rack of pork ribs on the 18-inch Weber kettle using the snake method. That's right, no accessories, no upgrades. You're going to know exactly how to make real barbecue ribs from start to finish using one of the Weber's smallest and most affordable grills. These ribs are St. Louis style cut ribs. They start out as spare ribs. St. Louis style just means that they've been squared up by trimming off the rib tips and uneven edges. Baby back ribs come from higher up near the loin and are a bit leaner. Spare ribs come from the belly side, have more fat, and tend to be more forgiving for beginners. I like St. Louis style ribs because they cook evenly and have great flavor. If you need some exact instructions on how to cut up some spare ribs into St. Louis style ribs, then please remember not to leave me a comment or give me any likes or subscriptions. Let's start by cleaning up these ribs. Sometimes the butcher does a great job trimming them, sometimes they don't. I'm going to remove the thin edges and square off the sides so everything cooks evenly. This thin edge here is just going to overcook, so I'm going to remove. But don't throw it away. Cook alongside your ribs or make some delicious chile verde. Next, I'm going to remove the membrane from the back of the ribs. Grab a paper towel, slide your finger under the membrane, and pull it off in one piece if you can. If it tears, no big deal. Just keep on going. This step is optional. It's easy, but if it feels like a friction point, just keep it on. Score the membrane with a sharp knife. This way, a little bit of the seasoning and the smoke can get more into the meat. I'm also trimming off any large pockets of excess fat. This fat is not going to render properly, so I just remove. This is also optional. For seasoning, I'm going to be using my barbecue pork seasoning. The full recipe is down in the description, but feel free to use your favorite rib rub. The method I'm going to discuss here will work with any of your favorite seasonings. Get a nice coat of seasoning, flip over, and get the bone side. Be sure to show the sides and the corners a little bit of love. Nice even coat all around. Give it a few love taps, and then let these ribs sit out for a bit while we set up the grill. I'm using B&B charcoal to set up a charcoal snake. B&B is a larger briquette than the standard Kingsford. Because of that, I'm running a single layer with 2 rows side by side. This setup is going to let me run right under 250 degrees. I stack the charcoal so it leans against itself, almost like dominoes that fell over. You can take your time or rush through it. It really doesn't matter. Just make sure that the briquettes are packed tightly together. The charcoal snake method gives you steady, controlled heat for a long period of time. And if you ever need more cook time, you can easily extend the snake without any problems. Now, I know you've been told that you need big, expensive smokers and fancy gadgets to make good food. Well, you don't. And I want to show you that you can cook amazing barbecue on simple gear with a simple setup. As I mentioned earlier, I picked up this used 18-inch Weber kettle on Facebook Marketplace for about 20 bucks. And I can't wait to show you the kind of food that you can get from it. If you're using Kingsford or you want to run hotter, you can add another layer of charcoal up on top. I'm doing that here so that the grill runs slightly hotter towards the end of the cook. It's not something you need to do, but I'm in experimenting mode right now. Next, I'm adding an aluminum pan and filling it with hot water. The pan adds moisture and it helps stabilize temperatures. This step, yep, it's also optional. Use it if you have it. Now, I'm lighting one end of the snake with a Weber starter cube. Once the first briquettes are lit, I'll add a few chunks of applewood. Then I'll drop the grate in and put the lid on. I'm letting the grill preheat for about 15 minutes. This allows the temperature to stabilize, but more importantly, it lets any of the thick white smoke burn off. One common misconception about the snake method is that it gives the food bad flavor. Well, it doesn't, as long as you let that smoke clear before adding on the meat. Always use natural briquettes and never use that easy light charcoal or lighter fluid. That will absolutely give your food some bad flavor. If you're seeing thick white smoke like this is not what you want. You gotta let the grill settle down before adding your ribs. Now, if the smoke is thin and blue like this, you're in the money zone. The ribs are sweating off nicely. This morning light is beautiful, and the ribs and grill look like a work of art. Now it's time to place the ribs on the grill opposite of the fire. This is known as indirect cooking, and this is because you're not cooking directly under the fire. I like to gently squeeze the ribs together so that the bones sit straighter. This gives each bone a little bit more meat, and it also saves space, which really matters on this 18-inch grate. It's a nice tip that I picked up from these barbecue competition guys. They all do it, so I figured I'd look a little cool by doing it too. As the charcoal burns along the snake, I'm going to rotate the grate slightly about every hour. This keeps the fire from creeping too close to the meat. When placing the lid, make sure the top vent is directly over the ribs. The vent is going to pull the heat and the smoke right across the meat before exiting the grill. Let's talk vent settings. Now, most people mess this up by overthinking the vent settings. I'm going to set the bottom vent to a quarter open and the top vent fully open. The top vent is going to go directly over the ribs. It's a simple setup and it really works. If your grill is running anywhere between 225 and 275, you're in the smoking zone. This isn't an oven, so exact temperatures don't matter. Any heat in this range is going to produce some great results. I'm going to check these ribs about the 2-hour mark. I'm going to run my fingers right across the seasoning, and if it comes off, I let it go for another 30 minutes. Now these ribs took 3 hours for the bark to set. And by set, I mean the rub doesn't come off when I run my finger across it, and they have good looking color. I mean, don't you agree? At this point, the ribs have hit the stall. The internal temperature rises very slowly here, usually around 160 degrees. You can leave the ribs unwrapped and they'll eventually push through the stall and get tender. But wrapping speeds up the whole process. Wrapping is also going to let you add more flavor. On some foil, I'm adding butter and barbecue sauce. I'm going to place the ribs meat side down first, and then I'm going to add more barbecue sauce on top. Feel free to use apple juice, brown sugar, hot sauce, or whatever flavor profile you like. I'm going to wrap the ribs tightly, add a second layer of foil, and press out any air pockets. And then they go back on the grill until they're nice and tender. From here, it can take anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes. The steak method holds steady heat, so there's really no need to touch the vents. About an hour and 45 minutes later, these ribs are tender. Unwrap, flip the ribs so the meat side is facing up, and put back on the grill. This is going to allow the bark to reset, which takes about 30 minutes. To check for tenderness, you slide in a toothpick or skewer, and it should feel like room temperature butter when you're probing right between the bones. You'll also notice good bone pullback, which is another great sign. You can sauce again 15 minutes later. That's if you like your ribs extra saucy. 30 minutes later, the bark is back, and these ribs are ready to come off. I let them rest for another 30 minutes before slicing. Resting allows everything to settle down, and they're going to be more juicy. Once rested, I'm going to flip them over, bone side up, so I can see where to cut. And there we have it, perfectly tender, juicy, great smoke ring, and packed with a lot of flavor. Always a good day when you got some ribs, right? Before, I used to think that you needed a big, expensive, huge smoker to be able to produce good barbecue. Nope, I learned my lesson. All you need is a cheap grill like this. If you want to save more money, get it used. If I can do this on this setup, so can you. So give it a try, and I'll see you on the next one.